What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Grow with Breeze. In this video, I'm going to be giving you some different tips on finding a job when you don't have a whole lot of experience. This is a situation pretty much everybody's going to be in at one point or another, and these different tips have helped a lot of people go on to start really successful careers in the industry they love. Now, before we go any further, I do want to remind you to go ahead and hit that subscribe button if you want to see more content like this. We do post these videos regularly. Now, that being said, let's get into the video. So the first one I want to go over is Indeed.com. Indeed's been around for as long as I can remember, and there are so many other sites out there, but a lot of those sites don't have as trustworthy listings as Indeed does. Indeed is really established, and all the big companies are going to be on there. So when you're looking for a job and don't have a lot of experience, Indeed may not be the end-all be-all answer, especially in 2021. But it is a good place to start. So we're on Indeed.com right now, and I just want to show you a little bit about how the site works. So as you can see right here, I have no degree required, 50,000. So we're looking for a salary around that, but let's do entry level. And now we're seeing all the different entry-level types of jobs out there. And you can also filter it out to search for remote jobs, which is a really cool function. They must have just added this recently. I definitely didn't see that when I was looking for jobs back in the day. You can also change the city. So for example, let's say Seattle. And now we're seeing all kinds of different entry-level remote jobs in Seattle. You can switch the job type. So if you don't want contract jobs or temporary jobs or anything like that, you can do only full-time, entry level for experience level, just to narrow it down even more. Sometimes when you search entry level, some of the more mid-level jobs that require a ton of experience just slip in there. So as you can see, there are tons of different results, 401 of them for that matter. And if you want it even more narrow, you can put in some more keywords and even go to the advanced search to narrow it down even more. So overall, I would say Indeed is one of the best places you can start. It's not nearly as personal or direct as some of the other options we're gonna go over in this video. To be perfectly honest, you're probably gonna have to put out a lot of applications before getting any really decent responses. That's just how it is with just blindly applying for things. But I do think it's a great place to start, and honestly, you don't have a whole lot to lose just by applying for a job. So when combined with other types of networking methods, Indeed is a really good thing to add to your arsenal when you're looking for a new job. Next, we're gonna talk about another really good job searching site. This is Monster.com. Monster.com is really similar to Indeed, but in my opinion, the user interface looks a lot nicer. It's a lot more modern, a lot newer, and for whatever reason, I don't really know why, they have completely different listings almost all of the time from Indeed. These are pretty much two of the biggest job searching sites out there, but since they do typically tend to have different job postings, even from the same company, I do recommend using both of them when you're looking for a job. So let's take a look at the site and I'll show you some of the things you can do with it. So we're on Monster.com right now, and as you can see, there are a few more options than Indeed has. I personally think even though Indeed is pretty much the original job searching site out there, Monster is a little bit better just because it looks more modern and has more options. For example, they have stuff like salary tools that Indeed definitely doesn't have. Lots of different sections where you can get resources for career advice and that sort of thing. And then of course, their job searching function is just a lot nicer looking and overall more user friendly. So for example, let's type up entry-level accounting. Location, Seattle. So as you can see here, we have all the different options that fit the search criteria, entry-level accounting, within a 20-mile radius of Seattle. And if you check this box right here, now we're only gonna get remote positions, which is really cool. Now, one area where I would say Indeed is a little bit better is the actual criteria for searching in and of itself. You can add keywords to the actual search, but at the same time, it's not nearly as easy as Indeed, where there are a bunch of buttons on there that you can just hit to filter out some results. So in general, I do think Monster is a lot nicer looking and has other tools like the salary tools and career advice that Indeed doesn't have. But purely as a job searching site, I would say Indeed is a little bit better, although I do recommend using both just because they do tend to have different listings. The next thing we're going to go over is staffing agencies. Now, staffing agencies can be really hit or miss, but they're a lot more direct than just applying to jobs on Indeed.com or something like that. And in fact, you can actually find some staffing agencies on Indeed.com and other similar job searching sites, and there's a real good chance one of their recruiters will reach out to you and connect with you to help you find jobs in the industry you want to be in. There are really two different ways to find a staffing agency. The first one is really random, basically just searching the industry you want. So for example, entry-level accounting or something like that, and then you're going to see a listing from a staffing agency and pay attention to who's listing the actual job posting, because that's going to tell you it's most likely going to be something staffing. The other way you're going to find a staffing agency is simply by Googling staffing agency in whichever city you're located in. So let's say you live in Seattle, staffing agency in Seattle, Washington. You're going to get a bunch of different results of different staffing agencies that work in the area you live in, and then you can go through those and find one that fits your industry. There are some pros and cons to using a staffing agency. The good thing about them is that you don't really have anything to lose by working with one, and if you get the right recruiter, they can find some real good jobs for you that you wouldn't be able to find on your own, because what companies do is go to the staffing agencies, let them know what kinds of positions are available, and then those staffing agencies go out and find people to fill those positions. I know several different people who ended up getting really good jobs at really big companies through staffing agencies, but on the other hand, the con to it is that again, staffing agencies are really hit or miss. You're either going to get a really high quality recruiter who can do a lot for you and ends up connecting you with lots of good potential opportunities, but on the other hand, you could get someone who just completely flakes on you, which has happened to me multiple times. So trust me, I know working with a staffing agency on one hand can be really lucrative if you get the right people, the right opportunities at the right time. But on the other hand, the biggest downside is it can be a huge waste of time if you go to their meeting, talk to the recruiters, fill out all this information, and then they end up flaking on you. That's no good either. So definitely look into staffing agencies, but as with anything, proceed with caution because it's not always as good as it seems. The next thing I'm going to go over is one of the most effective things on this entire list, but I will say it's a lot of work, a lot of networking, and not everybody is going to feel comfortable doing it. But trust me, if you do this right, you could potentially land your dream job or pretty much any job you want for that matter. What you're going to do is go on LinkedIn, create an account, make sure you have every detail you possibly can filled out on that account, and make a list for yourself, maybe in your notes document or on a piece of paper or Microsoft Word document, whatever you have that you like to take notes on. Write down 5 different companies that you would absolutely love to work for. Go on LinkedIn, type in those companies and find individual people who work there, preferably recruiters, but if you can't find a recruiter to contact, you can always connect with somebody who has the job that you want. Once you find those people, connect with them and message them as soon as you can and see if they'd be willing to meet up just to talk about what they do in their position. Connecting with people in this way is probably the most effective possible way to get into a company or job that you really want. Now, I will say this is going to take a ton of work and most likely a lot of time as well. It's not easy by any means, and you're not going to find your dream job overnight doing this. So I do recommend mixing it in with the other methods that we talked about in order to both maximize your potential of getting a job you like, and if you don't get your dream job right away, you could always get a job that'll give you experience to work towards that dream job while also networking. I personally recommend that for anyone in the professional world, you should be networking even if you're not looking for a job, because like they always say, it's not really what you know, it's who you know. and LinkedIn is probably one of the most underestimated sites. And LinkedIn is probably the most underestimated social network of all time. Sure, there's lots of useless stuff on there, but at the same time, you can gain a lot of value out of the platform if you use it right. So I suggest giving it a try and seeing what works for you. But those were a few different tips that you can use to find a well-paying job without a whole lot of experience. All these tips are great, but none of them is an end-all be-all for finding a good job. These days, the job market is just so big and there's so many different things out there that it's gonna take a combination of networking, tactics, having a good resume, and just being in the right place at the right time to find a position that you really want. But that being said, these tips are definitely gonna make the job search a little bit easier and help you build some valuable skills along the way. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video and I hope you found this information useful as well. If you want to see more content like this, don't forget to leave a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. We will be posting these videos regularly. But that's it for this video. As always, I will see you in the next Grow with Breeze video.